Emma Parker had a special talent. Not singing, not dancing, not cooking. Her real talent was turning completely normal days into unforgettable disasters. If there was a banana peel on the sidewalk, Emma would somehow find it. If there was one loose shoelace in the entire city, it would probably be hers. And if something embarrassing could happen, it always happened to Emma. Monday morning started exactly the same way. Her alarm rang at 7. She reached over to turn it off, but accidentally knocked her phone off the bedside table. The phone hit the floor with a loud thud. Emma sighed. Great, the day hasn't even started. She got out of bed, stretched her arms, and walked straight toward the bathroom. Except, she forgot her cat, Mochi, loved sleeping in the hallway. Emma stepped on the fluffy cat's tail. Mochi let out the loudest meow imaginable. Emma jumped so hard she slipped on the rug and landed on the floor. The cat calmly walked away, looking completely offended. Emma pointed at him. You could have warned me. Mochi simply ignored her. 20 minutes later, Emma finally looked presentable. She wore her favorite white blouse, blue jeans, and white sneakers. She even managed to make her hair look perfect for once. Standing in front of the mirror, she smiled proudly. Today's going to be different. Exactly 2 minutes later, she poured herself a fresh cup of coffee. As she reached for the sugar, her elbow bumped the mug. Hot coffee flew through the air like it was part of an action movie. Splash. Her beautiful white blouse instantly turned light brown. Emma slowly looked down, then looked at the ceiling. Seriously? She changed her clothes for the second time that morning. She rushed outside and ran toward the subway station. The train doors were just about to close. Emma sprinted like she was competing in the Olympics. She made one giant leap and landed safely inside. She smiled proudly. I made it. Then she realized everyone inside the train was staring at her. An elderly woman pointed behind Emma. Her backpack was still outside the train. The doors had closed on one of the straps. Emma blinked. The train started moving. Her backpack remained hanging outside like a giant flag. Passengers tried not to laugh. A little boy whispered loudly, Mom, is that supposed to happen? His mother shook her head while trying to hide her smile. Emma covered her face. This is fine. It'll be fine. It was definitely not fine. By the time she reached downtown, she was already 20 minutes late for work. She hurried into the office building. Without paying attention, she confidently walked into the conference room. Everyone inside suddenly stopped talking. Around 20 people stared directly at her. A man wearing a gray suit frowned. Can we help you? Emma smiled politely. Good morning, everyone. Silence. Then she noticed something strange. She didn't recognize a single face. She slowly looked at the company logo on the wall. Wrong floor. Wrong company. Wrong meeting. Emma wanted to disappear. She gave the room an awkward little wave. I think I'm looking for the people who actually know me. Without waiting for a reply, she quietly walked out. The second the door closed, the room exploded with laughter. Emma leaned against the hallway wall. I should just move to another country. Finally, she reached her own office. Her best friend Chloe looked up from her desk. You look like you've survived a natural disaster. Emma dropped into her chair dramatically. I lost an argument with coffee. My backpack tried to escape. And I accidentally attended a business meeting for people I've never met. Chloe laughed so hard she nearly dropped her pen. You've only been awake for 3 hours. Emma nodded. I'm afraid of what the afternoon has planned. At lunchtime, Emma decided she deserved something nice. She walked to her favorite sandwich shop. The line was long. When it was finally her turn, she confidently ordered. I'll have the turkey sandwich, extra cheese, no onions, and an iced coffee. The cashier smiled. That'll be $12.50. Emma proudly reached into her bag, then froze. Her wallet wasn't there. She checked every pocket. Nothing. She searched again. Still nothing. People behind her were waiting. Emma gave the cashier an embarrassed smile. I apparently left my wallet at home. The cashier nodded kindly. It happens. Emma apologized and stepped out of line, completely embarrassed. As she stood outside wondering how she was going to survive the rest of the day without lunch, she had no idea that before the week was over, one random stranger was about to change her life forever. After the disaster at the sandwich shop, Emma somehow survived the rest of the week. By Friday evening, she had only one goal: to relax. But life had different plans. Her mom called. Emma, don't forget your cousin Olivia's wedding tomorrow. Emma sighed. I know, Mom, and please, wear something nice. Emma smiled. I always do. Her mom laughed. You do. But somehow, you still come home looking like you've survived a tornado. Emma couldn't even argue with that. Saturday arrived. Emma stood in front of her closet, staring at dozens of dresses. After trying on 5 different outfits, she finally chose a beautiful emerald green dress. She curled her hair, wore simple silver earrings, and looked at herself in the mirror. For once, she whispered, nothing can go wrong. She grabbed her purse and headed to the wedding venue. The hotel ballroom looked magical. Crystal chandeliers sparkled above the dance floor. Fresh white roses decorated every table. Soft music filled the room while guests laughed and took photos. Emma smiled. This is actually nice. She found her seat and quietly enjoyed the ceremony. Everything was peaceful until the reception started. Within 5 minutes, her Aunt Linda appeared beside her like a detective on a mission. So, Emma smiled nervously. So, are you dating anyone yet? Emma forced a laugh. No, Aunt Linda sighed dramatically. Such a beautiful girl. You should have been married by now. Before Emma could answer, another aunt joined the conversation. I know a dentist. He's 34, very handsome, and he owns 2 houses. Emma blinked. I'm 26. The aunt smiled proudly. Exactly, Emma looked around for an escape. There wasn't one. As if things weren't bad enough, her grandmother joined them. She gently patted Emma's hand. My dear, I just want to dance at your wedding before I get too old. Emma's heart melted. I know, Grandma, but I haven't met the right person. Grandma smiled kindly. Maybe he's already here. Emma laughed. I seriously doubt that. Just then, her little cousin Ben ran over with a huge piece of chocolate cake. Emma. She turned around. What is too late? Ben accidentally bumped into her. The entire slice of cake landed on the front of her dress. Chocolate frosting slowly slid down the elegant green fabric. The room fell silent for a second. Then Ben whispered, Oops. Emma looked down at herself. Then, back at Ben. Instead of getting angry, she burst out laughing. Well, I guess I'm the dessert now. Everyone nearby started laughing too. Even Ben couldn't stop giggling. Emma excused herself and hurried toward the restroom to clean her dress. After several minutes of trying, the chocolate stain was still there. She sighed. Perfect. When she walked back into the ballroom, she noticed several relatives whispering while looking at her. She knew exactly what they were talking about. Poor Emma, still single. She loved her family, but today she just wanted one evening without relationship questions. She grabbed a glass of lemonade and quietly walked toward the dessert table. That's when she noticed him. A tall man wearing a navy blue suit. Dark brown hair. Bright blue eyes. A calm smile. He was carefully arranging tiny desserts on a plate, completely focused, as if nothing around him could bother him. Emma had never seen him before. At that exact moment, Aunt Linda appeared beside her again. There you are. Emma almost spilled her drink. Emma, everyone wants to meet your boyfriend. Emma stared. My what? You've been hiding him from us, haven't you? Emma panicked. Her brain completely stopped working. Without thinking, she pointed at the handsome stranger standing near the dessert table. Him, the word escaped before she could stop it. Aunt Linda gasped. I knew it. Before Emma could explain, her aunt was already waving excitedly. Young man. The stranger slowly looked up. He glanced around, then realized she was calling him. He walked over with a curious smile. Emma's heart nearly stopped. What have I done? The man stood in front of them. Hello, Aunt Linda smiled brightly. You must be Emma's boyfriend. There was a brief silence. The stranger looked at Emma. Emma looked at the stranger. For a second, neither of them said a word. Then, a slow grin spread across the man's face. He looked directly into Emma's eyes and said, So, I'm your boyfriend? Emma wished the floor would open up and swallow her whole. Emma stood frozen. She wanted to explain everything, but her brain had completely stopped working. The handsome stranger looked at her with a playful smile, waiting for an answer. Before Emma could say a single word, Aunt Linda clapped her hands. Oh, this is wonderful. You two look adorable together. Emma forced the most awkward smile of her life. Thank you. The stranger noticed the panic on Emma's face. Instead of exposing her, he simply smiled. It's nice to finally meet the family. Emma's eyes widened. Wait, he's actually helping me? Within seconds, 3 more relatives surrounded them. Questions started flying from every direction. So, what's your name? How long have you been together? Where did you two meet? Emma's heartbeat got faster. She had no answers. But before she could embarrass herself again, the stranger calmly spoke. My name is Ethan Carter. We met about 8 months ago. Emma quickly nodded. Yep, 8 months. Her uncle laughed. And where did you meet? Emma opened her mouth. She stopped. Ethan smiled. At a bookstore. Emma immediately added, yes, a bookstore. Her uncle laughed. That's actually romantic. Emma smiled nervously. I've never even been to a bookstore this year. For the next 20 minutes, Ethan played the role of the perfect boyfriend. He pulled out Emma's chair before she sat down. He offered her a drink. He made everyone laugh with funny stories. Even Emma started relaxing. She quietly whispered, Why are you doing this? Without looking at her, Ethan replied, Because you're entertaining. Emma frowned. That's rude. He smiled. But true. Emma tried not to laugh. Soon, the music started. The DJ announced, All couples, please join us on the dance floor. Emma's smile disappeared. Oh no, her grandmother looked at Ethan. You are dancing with my granddaughter, right? Before Emma could invent another excuse, Ethan held out his hand. May I? Emma stared at him. I should warn you, I'm terrible at dancing. Ethan chuckled. So am I. She looked at his confident smile. You don't look terrible. I hide it well. Emma laughed and placed her hand in his. The music began. At first, everything went surprisingly well. Emma started thinking, maybe tonight won't be so bad after all. Exactly 3 seconds later, she stepped on Ethan's foot. Hard, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Ethan winced dramatically. I think my shoe just filed for divorce. Emma burst into laughter. I told you I couldn't dance. It's okay, Ethan said with a grin. I still have one working foot. A few nearby guests laughed after hearing them. As the song continued, Emma relaxed. For the first time that week, she wasn't worrying about work or embarrassing herself. She was simply having fun. Then Ethan leaned slightly closer. So, how long were you planning to keep me as your imaginary boyfriend? Emma looked at him, hopefully only until dessert. Ethan laughed. Too late. She frowned. What do you mean? He quietly pointed across the room. Emma followed his finger. Her family was taking photos of them. Lots of photos. Her aunt was already showing everyone pictures with the caption, Meet Emma's boyfriend. Emma nearly dropped his hand. No, this can't be happening. A few minutes later, the dance ended. Emma quickly pulled Ethan aside near the garden outside the ballroom. I'm so sorry, she said. I completely dragged you into this. Ethan leaned against the railing with a smile. I've had worse Saturdays. Emma sighed. So, thank you. Ethan nodded. You're welcome. There was a brief silence. Then he crossed his arms. Now we need to discuss my payment. Emma blinked. What? My payment? She stared at him. You want money? Ethan laughed. No, I'm not that expensive. Emma folded her arms. Then what? Ethan pretended to think very seriously. I'll charge you. He paused dramatically. Rent. Emma looked completely confused. Rent? For occupying my Saturday. Emma couldn't believe what she was hearing. You're impossible. And you're chaotic, Ethan replied with a smile. So here's the deal. You owe me 1 coffee every Monday. And if you're late, the rent increases. Emma laughed so hard she almost spilled her drink. That's the dumbest deal I've ever heard. Are you accepting it? She smiled. Fine. 1 coffee. Ethan held out his hand. Deal? Emma shook it. Deal? Neither of them realized that one small handshake would completely change both of their lives. Emma woke up the next morning with a smile. For the first time in weeks, nothing embarrassing had happened. She stretched, made herself a cup of coffee, and looked out the window. Finally, she whispered, "A peaceful Sunday." Her phone suddenly buzzed. Unknown number. Emma frowned. Who could that be? She opened the message. It read, "Good morning, fake girlfriend." Emma immediately knew who it was. She smiled without realizing it. She quickly typed back, "How did you even get my number?" A few seconds later, another message appeared. "Your grandmother gave it to me." Emma's eyes nearly popped out of her head. What? Another text came in. "Relax," she said. "Now that you're part of the family, you should have Emma's number." Emma covered her face with a pillow. Oh no, she called Ethan immediately. The phone rang twice before he answered. "Good morning." Emma didn't even let him finish. "Why does my grandmother have your number?" Ethan laughed. "I was asking myself the same thing. My phone suddenly rang this morning. It was your grandma." Emma sighed. What did she want? Ethan cleared his throat and imitated her grandmother's sweet voice. "Ethan, dear, we're having a family dinner next Friday. You have to come." Emma froze. "She invited you?" "Oh, she didn't invite me. She told me I had to come." Emma slowly sat down. "This is a disaster," Ethan chuckled. "I think it's hilarious." Emma spent the entire week hoping her family would somehow forget about Ethan. Instead, things got worse. Every single day, someone from her family texted her. Her aunt sent her old couple memes. Her uncle asked if Ethan liked fishing. Her cousin wanted double date ideas. Even her little cousin Ben sent a voice message. "Hi, Ethan. Don't forget to bring dessert." Emma stared at her phone. He's become more popular than I am. Friday evening finally arrived. Emma stood outside the restaurant, nervously fixing her dress. She checked the time. 7 o'clock. No Ethan. 7:03. Still no Ethan. She folded her arms. I knew it. He's not coming. Just as she turned toward the entrance, a motorcycle stopped beside her. The rider removed his helmet. It was Ethan. His hair was slightly messy from the ride. He smiled. "Sorry, I had to rescue a puppy." Emma raised an eyebrow. "Seriously?" Ethan grinned. "No, I just wanted to sound cooler than saying I got stuck in traffic." Emma laughed. "You're ridiculous. I've been told that." As they walked toward the restaurant, Emma stopped. "Ethan," he looked at her. "Thank you for helping me." His playful smile softened. "You don't have to thank me." Then he added, "Although I still expect my Monday coffee." Emma rolled her eyes. "You'll never let that go, will you?" Never. The moment they entered the restaurant, Emma's family erupted into cheers. There they are. Her grandmother rushed over and hugged Ethan first. Emma looked completely offended. "Grandma, I'm your granddaughter." Grandma smiled innocently. "I know, but I saw you yesterday." The whole table burst into laughter. Ethan tried not to laugh too, but failed. Emma pointed at him. "Don't encourage her." Dinner started peacefully, for about 5 minutes. Then Uncle Robert asked, So, Ethan, when are you proposing? Emma almost choked on her water. Cough, cough. Ethan quickly handed her a napkin. Easy there. Emma looked at her uncle. We've only been dating. She glanced at Ethan. 8 months. Her uncle nodded. Exactly. That's plenty of time. Emma whispered to Ethan, I think I'm going to faint. Ethan whispered back, if you do, I'll tell them it's because you love me too much. Emma kicked him gently under the table. Ouch, Ethan whispered dramatically. Worth it. As everyone laughed and talked, Emma noticed something strange. Whenever she got nervous, Ethan naturally stepped in to help. He answered awkward questions, changed uncomfortable topics, made everyone laugh before things became too serious. For someone she had only met a week ago, he somehow made everything easier. She caught herself smiling, then quickly looked away. Don't be ridiculous, Emma, she thought. He's just helping you. But somewhere deep inside, a tiny voice whispered, then why do you feel so comfortable around him? Emma ignored the thought. She wasn't about to fall for a man she'd met by accident. Or so she believed. The next morning, Emma woke up to the sound of her phone ringing. It was Chloe. Good morning, lovebird. Emma groaned. Please don't start. Chloe laughed. Too late. I saw the pictures from last night. Emma sat up in bed. What pictures? Chloe gasped dramatically. Don't tell me you haven't checked social media. Emma quickly opened her phone. Her family had posted dozens of photos. One picture showed Ethan pulling out her chair. Another showed them laughing together. One photo had already collected hundreds of likes. The caption read, Finally, Emma found the perfect gentleman. Emma buried her face in a pillow. Oh, this is getting out of control. Just as she was about to put her phone down, a message popped up from Ethan. Good morning, fake girlfriend. Emma smiled despite herself. She replied, Morning. A few seconds later, did you lose something? Emma frowned. What do you mean? Ethan sent a photo. It was her purse. Emma jumped out of bed. My purse. She had completely forgotten it in Ethan's car after dinner. She immediately texted back. Can I come pick it up? His reply came almost instantly. Sure, I'm at my studio. Just don't laugh when you see me. Emma smiled. Now I'm definitely going to laugh. 30 minutes later, Emma arrived at the address Ethan had sent. She expected to see a small apartment. Instead, she found a beautiful photography studio with large glass windows and colorful flower boxes outside. A wooden sign above the door read, Carter Photography Studio, Emma whispered. So, he's a photographer. She walked inside. The walls were covered with breathtaking photographs, sunsets, mountains, families, children laughing, couples dancing in the rain. Every picture felt alive. Emma slowly looked around in amazement. This is incredible. Careful, a familiar voice came from behind. You've been standing in front of that picture for almost 3 minutes. Emma turned around. Ethan was wearing a simple black t-shirt, blue jeans, and an apron covered in tiny paint stains. He was holding a camera in one hand and 2 cups of coffee in the other. Emma blinked. You actually work here? He laughed. I hope so. I own the place. Emma looked surprised. You own it? I started it 4 years ago. She looked around again. I thought you were just a wedding guest. I was. I was the wedding photographer. Emma suddenly remembered seeing cameras everywhere. Oh, that makes sense. Ethan handed her a cup of coffee. Payment? Emma looked confused. I thought I owed you coffee. You do, but this one is free. She smiled. I'll consider it an advance. While Ethan searched for her purse, Emma wandered around the studio. She noticed a closed door with a small silver star hanging on it. Underneath was a handwritten note. Private, please knock. She became curious. What room is that? For the first time, Ethan's smile faded. My little sister's room. Emma looked confused. Your sister works here? He nodded slowly. Sometimes, just then, the door opened. A little girl, around 10 years old, stepped outside. She had curly brown hair, bright blue eyes, and wore hearing aids in both ears. She smiled the moment she saw Ethan. He immediately bent down and hugged her. The little girl signed something with her hands. Ethan signed back just as quickly. Emma watched silently. "You know sign language?" Ethan smiled. "I've been learning since I was 12. My sister Lily was born deaf." Emma looked at the little girl, who happily waved at her. Emma waved back with a warm smile. Lily giggled and signed something to Ethan. "What did she say?" Emma asked. Ethan laughed. "She says, your fake girlfriend is prettier in real life." Emma couldn't stop herself from laughing. "Tell her, thank you." Ethan signed the message. Lily clapped happily before running back into her room. Emma looked at Ethan differently now. Until today, she had only seen the funny guy who loved teasing her. But standing here, watching him care for his little sister with so much patience and love, she realized there was another side to him. A kind side. A gentle side. One that he never talked about. As Ethan handed her the purse, he smiled again. Everything should be inside. Emma checked. Wallet, keys, phone, everything was there. She looked up at him. "You could have taken my money." Ethan pretended to think. "I tried. But all I found was $3 and a grocery receipt." Emma laughed. "I know, I'm rich." As Emma walked toward the door, Ethan called after her. "Hey," she turned around. "Don't forget, tomorrow is Monday." Emma smiled. "The coffee." He nodded. "You still owe me." Emma grinned. "I'll be there." She walked outside with a smile she couldn't hide. For the first time, she wasn't meeting Ethan because she had to. She was actually looking forward to seeing him. And that thought scared her a little. Monday morning arrived. For the first time in years, Emma actually woke up before her alarm. She stared at the ceiling for a moment. Then she smiled. "Why am I excited?" She quickly shook her head. "It's just coffee." She got ready, picked out a light blue sweater and black jeans, tied her hair into a neat ponytail, and looked in the mirror. No expectations, it's just one coffee. At exactly 9 o'clock, Emma walked into the little cafe where she and Ethan had agreed to meet. She looked around. No Ethan. She checked her phone. Nothing. 5 minutes passed. Still nothing. Emma folded her arms. "He made me wake up early, and he's the one who's late." Just as she reached for her phone to text him, someone gently covered her eyes from behind. Guess who? Emma smiled instantly. "Ethan." He removed his hands and laughed. "Too easy. You smell like coffee. I'll take that as a compliment." They ordered their drinks and sat near the large window overlooking the street. For the first time, there were no relatives, no fake relationship, no wedding, just two people talking. Emma discovered that Ethan loved traveling. He had photographed weddings in Italy, Japan, and Iceland. "You've been to Iceland?" Emma asked. Ethan nodded. "The waterfalls there are unbelievable." Emma smiled. "I've never even left the country." "You will someday." His answer came so naturally that Emma stared at him. "You sound very confident." He shrugged. "I just have a feeling." Emma couldn't explain why, but hearing him say that made her smile. An hour passed without either of them noticing. They laughed about embarrassing childhood stories. Emma admitted she had once accidentally dyed her hair bright orange while trying to go blonde. Ethan laughed so hard that coffee nearly came out of his nose. "My turn," he said. "When I was 16, I accidentally photographed the wrong wedding." Emma burst into laughter. "That's impossible." "I wish it were. I spent 3 hours taking pictures before the bride finally asked, 'Who are you?'" Emma laughed so loudly that people turned to look at them. "I can't breathe." Just then, the cafe door opened. A beautiful young woman wearing a stylish red coat walked in. The moment she saw Ethan, her face lit up. "Ethan." Before Emma could react, the woman walked over and gave Ethan a warm hug. Emma's smile faded. The woman looked at him with excitement. "I've been trying to reach you all morning." Ethan smiled politely. "Hi, Sophia." Emma quietly looked down at her coffee. "Sophia? Who is she? Sophia finally noticed Emma. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were busy. She smiled warmly at Emma. You must be his fiancé. Emma nearly dropped her coffee. What? Before she could answer, Sophia laughed. I knew it. I told everyone Ethan would never smile this much unless he was in love. Emma slowly looked at Ethan. He looked just as shocked. No, Sophia, you've got the wrong idea. But Sophia wasn't listening anymore. She had already taken out her phone. Oh my gosh, I'm sending this to Mom. Emma whispered. Please don't. Too late. Message sent. Sophia looked proudly at Emma. You have no idea how happy Ethan's family is going to be. Emma blinked. Your family? Sophia nodded. I'm his cousin. Emma let out a small breath of relief. Okay, not his girlfriend. But before she could relax completely, Sophia smiled mischievously. So, when's the wedding? Emma and Ethan answered at exactly the same time. There isn't one. The entire cafe turned to look at them. A little boy sitting nearby giggled. Even the barista started smiling. Emma covered her face. Why does this always happen to me? Sophia laughed so hard she had tears in her eyes. I'm kidding. You two are adorable. She winked at Ethan. Don't mess this up. Then she waved goodbye and left the cafe. Emma looked at Ethan. You have a very dramatic family. Ethan laughed. I was literally about to say the same thing about yours. For a second, they simply looked at each other. Then both of them burst into laughter. As they left the cafe, rain suddenly started pouring. Within seconds, the streets were soaked. Emma looked at the sky. Seriously? Ethan opened a large black umbrella. Come here. They stood close together under the umbrella. Their shoulders brushed as they walked down the sidewalk. Neither of them said anything. The silence wasn't awkward anymore. It felt comfortable, almost peaceful. Emma realized she was smiling again. And this time, she wasn't smiling because of a joke. She was smiling because she genuinely enjoyed being with Ethan. She didn't know it yet, but she was slowly falling for the one person who was supposed to be her fake boyfriend. That evening, Emma was lying on her couch, scrolling through photos from the cafe. She couldn't stop smiling. Every picture reminded her of Ethan's terrible jokes. His loud laugh. The way he always made every awkward situation feel easy. For the first time in a long time, life actually felt peaceful. Then, her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Emma frowned. She opened the message. There was only one photo. It showed Ethan standing outside his photography studio, hugging a beautiful blonde woman. The caption underneath read, "Ask your fake boyfriend who she really is." Emma's smile disappeared. Her heart suddenly felt heavy. Who is she? She whispered. Emma stared at the picture for several minutes. She wanted to call Ethan immediately, but another voice in her head stopped her. Why would you ask? He's not really your boyfriend. You don't have the right. She locked her phone and tried to ignore it, but the photo stayed in her mind all night. She barely slept. The next morning, Ethan texted her. Morning, fake girlfriend. Ready for breakfast? Emma looked at the message for a long time. Normally, she would have replied with a joke. Instead, she simply typed, I'm busy today. Maybe another time. Ethan replied almost instantly. Everything okay? Emma hesitated. Then, she lied. Yeah, just work. She put her phone away. For the next 3 days, Emma avoided him. Whenever Ethan called, she didn't answer. Whenever he texted, she replied with one-word messages. Okay. Sure, busy. Ethan could feel something was wrong, but he had no idea what. On Thursday afternoon, Chloe walked into Emma's office carrying 2 iced coffees. She placed one on Emma's desk. You've been acting weird all week. Emma sighed. I'm fine. Chloe folded her arms. No, you're not. Emma stayed quiet. Finally, she showed Chloe the anonymous photo. Chloe studied it carefully. That's it? Emma looked confused. What do you mean that's it? Chloe smiled. You've known Ethan for weeks. Has he ever lied to you? Emma thought for a moment. No. Has he ever given you a reason not to trust him? No. Then why are you believing a stranger instead of asking Ethan? Emma looked down. She hadn't thought about it that way. That evening, Emma decided she couldn't keep avoiding him. She drove to Ethan's photography studio. The lights inside were still on. She took a deep breath and walked in. Ethan looked up from editing photos. The moment he saw her, he smiled. Then he noticed her serious expression. His smile slowly faded. Emma, is everything okay? She didn't answer. Instead, she held up her phone. The photo filled the screen. Who is she? Ethan looked at the picture. For a few seconds, he said nothing. Emma's heart sank. Why isn't he answering? Finally, Ethan let out a small laugh. Emma frowned. Why are you laughing? He shook his head. Because whoever sent you this cut out the most important part. What do you mean? Ethan walked over to his computer. He opened the security camera footage from outside the studio. He pressed play. The video showed the same blonde woman walking toward him. She looked upset. She was crying. Emma watched silently. A few seconds later, the woman hugged Ethan. Then, a man came running toward them. The woman immediately hugged the man too. Ethan paused the video. That's my cousin, Ava. Her husband had just returned home after serving overseas for almost a year. They asked me to photograph their reunion. Emma looked at the screen again. The anonymous photo had been perfectly cropped. It made it look like Ethan was hugging the woman romantically. But the full video told a completely different story. Emma felt her cheeks turn red. I'm so sorry. I should have asked you. Ethan smiled gently. You should have. There was no anger in his voice. Only disappointment. Emma looked down. I guess I was jealous. The words escaped before she could stop them. Silence filled the studio. Ethan slowly smiled. You were? Emma covered her face. I can't believe I just admitted that. Ethan laughed softly. I've been hoping you would. Emma looked up. What? He stepped a little closer. I wasn't sure if you were starting to like me, but I think you just answered my question. Emma couldn't stop smiling. For the first time, neither of them called it a fake relationship. Because deep inside, it didn't feel fake anymore. Just as they were about to leave the studio together, Ethan's phone rang. He answered it. His expression suddenly changed. The smile disappeared from his face. What? He looked shocked. I'm on my way. He quickly grabbed his car keys. Emma's heart raced. What happened? Ethan looked at her with worry in his eyes. It's Lily. She's been taken to the hospital. Without saying another word, they both ran out of the studio. Ethan drove faster than he ever had before. The rain poured against the windshield, making it difficult to see the road. Neither of them spoke. The only sound inside the car was the windshield wipers moving back and forth. Emma looked at Ethan. His hands were gripping the steering wheel so tightly that his knuckles had turned white. She had never seen him like this. The funny, confident man, who always had a joke ready, was completely silent. She gently placed her hand over his. It's going to be okay. Ethan gave a small nod. I hope so. 20 minutes later, they rushed into St. Mary's Hospital. A nurse led them to the pediatric emergency waiting area. Ethan immediately stood up as a doctor walked toward them. Doctor, how's Lily? The doctor smiled reassuringly. Please don't worry. She's stable. Ethan let out a long breath. What happened? The doctor explained. Lily has a severe peanut allergy. She accidentally ate a cookie that contained peanuts during an art class. We treated her quickly. She'll be absolutely fine. Emma quietly closed her eyes in relief. For the first time that evening, she saw Ethan smile again. Can we see her? The doctor nodded. For a few minutes. Lily was sitting up in bed, wrapped in a soft pink blanket. The moment she saw Ethan, she smiled and signed, You look scared. Ethan laughed. You scared me. Lily rolled her eyes playfully and signed, I'm okay. Emma stepped closer. Hi, Lily. Lily smiled brightly and signed another sentence. Ethan translated. She says, I'm sorry I ruined your date. Emma laughed. It wasn't ruined. We're just happy you're okay. Lily grinned. Then she signed something else. Ethan suddenly looked embarrassed. Emma smiled. What did she say? Ethan scratched the back of his neck. It's nothing. Lily crossed her arms and signed again. Emma laughed. Now you have to tell me. Ethan sighed dramatically. She said, if you two keep pretending to be fake, you'll be old before you finally kiss. Emma's face turned bright red. Ethan. He raised both hands. Don't blame me. She said it. Lily burst into silent laughter, covering her mouth with the blanket. An hour later, Lily had fallen asleep. The doctor assured them she would be discharged the next morning. Emma and Ethan walked to the hospital cafeteria. Neither of them felt like eating. Ethan stared at the coffee in front of him. You know, my parents passed away when Lily was 3. Emma looked at him quietly. I've been taking care of her ever since. I promised them she'd never feel alone. His voice was calm, but Emma could hear the emotion behind every word. I always try to be strong for her. But every time she gets sick, I'm terrified. Emma reached across the table and gently held his hand. You don't have to be strong every second. It's okay to be scared. Ethan looked at her. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then, he smiled. Thank you. Around midnight, the vending machine in the hallway suddenly made a loud clunk. Emma had tried to buy a chocolate bar, but it got stuck. She stared at the machine. You've got to be kidding me. She pushed the glass gently. Nothing. She pushed harder. Still nothing. Ethan walked over. Need professional assistance? Emma smiled. Please, he pressed one button. The machine suddenly released not 1, not 2, but 5 chocolate bars. They all dropped into the tray at once. Emma stared at the pile. What did you do? Ethan shrugged. I have trust issues with vending machines. Emma laughed so loudly that a nearby nurse looked over and smiled. They split the chocolate bars with the nurses working the night shift. One nurse joked, You two make a pretty good team. Emma and Ethan looked at each other, then smiled. Maybe they really did. The next morning, Lily was discharged from the hospital. Before leaving, she secretly slipped a folded piece of paper into Emma's hand. What's this? Emma asked. Lily simply smiled and pointed for her to open it later. As they walked outside into the bright morning sunlight, Emma unfolded the note. Written in colorful markers were the words, Dear Emma, thank you for making my brother laugh again. He smiled more this week than he has in a very long time. Please don't break his heart. Love. Lily. Emma stood still. She read the note again. Then once more. She looked over at Ethan, who was helping Lily into the car. Without realizing it, she smiled. Because she knew something had changed. This wasn't just a fake relationship anymore. Somewhere between coffee dates, awkward family dinners, bad jokes, and one very long night at the hospital, she had fallen in love. But there was one problem. She still had no idea if Ethan felt the same way. Emma stared at the small silver key resting in her hand. She turned it over. There was no number, no address, just a tiny engraved letter, E. Along with it was a handwritten note. Meet me at the place where this all began. Come alone, no signature. But she knew exactly who had written it. Ethan. Emma looked at the clock. It was almost 7 in the evening. Her heart started racing. The place where this all began. Then she smiled. The wedding venue. Half an hour later, Emma parked outside the same hotel where they had first met. The ballroom was empty now. The wedding decorations were long gone. The lights were dim. Only a few staff members were cleaning up after another event. Emma looked around. Ethan? No answer. She checked her phone. Nothing. For a moment, she thought she had come to the wrong place. Then she noticed another small note taped to the old dessert table. It read, "Wrong place." Emma laughed. "You've got to be kidding me." On the back of the note was another clue. "Think about the first place where we actually talked." Emma thought for a second, then smiled. The garden. She walked through the quiet garden behind the hotel. The same place where Ethan had asked her to pay rent with Monday coffee. The fairy lights hanging from the trees were glowing softly. A gentle breeze moved the leaves. Everything looked magical. But Ethan still wasn't there. Instead, she found a small wooden box sitting on the bench. The silver key fit perfectly into the lock. Emma slowly opened it. Inside were 9 tiny envelopes. Each one had a date written on it. She opened the first envelope. Inside was a photograph. It showed her at the wedding, covered in chocolate cake. On the back, Ethan had written, "The moment I realized you laugh at your problems instead of running from them." Emma smiled. She opened the second envelope. Another photo. This one showed them dancing. "You stepped on my foot 3 times. I'd let you do it again." Emma laughed. "You counted?" She kept opening the envelopes one by one. There was a photo from the family dinner, one from the coffee shop, one outside his photography studio, one of Lily laughing. Every picture had a handwritten memory on the back. By the last envelope, Emma's eyes were filled with tears. The final photo was taken without her knowing. It showed her sitting in the hospital cafeteria, holding Ethan's hand while he worried about Lily. On the back, only one sentence was written. "This was the moment I stopped pretending." Emma held the picture close to her chest. She whispered, "Ethan, you're crying already?" Emma turned around. Ethan was standing a few feet away, wearing the same navy blue suit from the wedding. His hands were nervously tucked into his pockets. Emma laughed through her tears. "I hate you." He smiled. "No, you don't." She walked toward him. "You made me solve clues all over the hotel. I wanted to make sure you still remembered our story." "I remember everything." For the first time since they met, Ethan looked genuinely nervous. He took a deep breath. "I've photographed hundreds of weddings. I've seen people fall in love. I've seen perfect proposals. But when it came to telling you how I feel, I had absolutely no idea what I was doing." Emma smiled softly. "You? Nervous?" He laughed. Terrified, he reached into his pocket. Emma's heart skipped a beat. He slowly pulled out a small paper cup, the same kind they had used on their first Monday coffee. Emma looked confused. Ethan smiled. "I told you you'd owe me coffee every Monday." She laughed. "I remember." He held the empty cup toward her. "So, how about we stop pretending and turn every Monday coffee into a real date?" Emma couldn't stop smiling. She stepped closer. "So, you're finally asking me to be your real girlfriend?" Ethan nodded. "I've been trying to. For weeks." Emma looked into his eyes. "You talk too much." "I know, and your jokes are terrible." "I know. You charged me rent for my own fake relationship." "I know." She laughed. "You're the weirdest man I've ever met." Ethan smiled. "I'll take that as a yes." Emma didn't answer with words. Instead, she gently took the coffee cup from his hand, placed it on the bench, held his face, and kissed him. It wasn't rushed. It wasn't dramatic. It was simple, warm, and exactly where they were both meant to be. When they pulled away, Ethan whispered, "So, does this mean I still get free coffee every Monday?" Emma laughed. "Not free. You'll have to earn it." Just then, a loud voice echoed across the garden. "I knew it." Emma and Ethan jumped apart. They turned around. Standing behind the bushes were Grandma, Aunt Linda, Uncle Robert, Chloe, and Lily. Lily was holding a handmade sign that read, "About time." Grandma crossed her arms with a huge smile. "I told everyone you'd finally stop pretending tonight." Emma covered her face. "Oh my goodness," Ethan laughed. "You planned this?" Grandma winked. "Sweetheart, the anonymous key?" "That was my idea." Everyone burst into laughter. Emma looked at Ethan. "So, our families tricked us into admitting we were in love?" Ethan smiled. I guess they did. Emma shook her head, laughing. I can't believe this. Lily ran over and hugged both of them. The whole family clapped and cheered. For the first time, there were no fake smiles. No fake relationship. No pretending. Just two people who had accidentally found love, exactly when they weren't looking for it.